Welcome to the Dynasty Football Key. We're back watching the NFL Combine wide receivers, and I think we've got some winners. Again, I definitely want to say that, look, we've watched the tape on some of these guys, and we know what they can do. But, man, we have a new record holder for the fastest 40 time at the NFL Combine. None other than Xavier Worthy out of Texas. And he was the fastest out of any position. I mean, obviously, the fastest player ever. But this video is for the wide receiver, so let's narrow it down and see what else we got going on here. But of course, Worthy is going to be the highlight. They've got a simulcam of him versus John Ross, the former record holder. And yeah, Worthy's really quick. And look, we've got in this class some other fast players. I mean, multiple in the 4.3 range. So Xavier Worthy 4.21, Brian Thomas Jr. 4.33. And that's, pretty tall guy to be running that fast. Adonai Mitchell, 4.34 official, also out of Texas. So two of the top three wide receivers in this class are out of Texas. Devontae Walker, we expected him to be fast, 4.36. Jacob Cowing, 4.38. Roman Wilson got a 4.39 in, and I was expecting him to test pretty well. Lab McConkey, 4.39. That's good for him. He's been high up on people's boards, so those guys are solidified. Second round, no later than that. I mean, even Devontae Walker, if he gets a good landing spot, may solidify second round draft capital. And then we've got Troy Franklin, 4.41 is still fast. Ricky Parasol, I mean, Xavier Leggett was also pretty fast there. And, again, really, you need to be exceptional to boost yourself to a point where we can imagine the NFL teams giving you that extra draft capital. So that's why, even though there's some other names here, they're going to have to do a lot beyond just being fast. And here we've got next gen stats. Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell at the top, 24 miles an hour, almost 24 and a half miles an hour, man, for Xavier Worthy. This dude's quick. Let's see. So there you have it. And let's take a look here at MathBomb. See if we can take a look at some of these RAS scores. So we've got Xavier Worthy, 195 out of 3,063 wide receivers from 1987 relative athletic score. You see the 40-yard dash here, and that's the unofficial time. I wonder if that changes anything, if it's updated. Let's keep moving along here. As you can see, no agility testing information. I saw that none of the players from today's agility scores were posted by the NFL. So that's just something that will come out later. Probably we'll have it tonight or tomorrow. But still, this gets us a close look. And so don't worry about why that's not there. Still, I'll just lastly say with Worthy, 165 pounds. So clearly very light, and 5'11", so not short. In NFL, maybe he adds about 10 pounds. He'll be light. I would say that on the tape, it seemed like he was dropping a lot of balls, but I checked the drop rate, and really, it wasn't too bad compared to a lot of receivers in this class. And as you can see, Xavier Worthy, 5.4% drop rate. So if you compare that to last class, that's in between Jackson Smith and Jigba and Jalen Hyatt, but Rashee Rice had more of a drop rate than him. Not too many other great names above that, but Worthy at 5.4, that's not bad at all. And we can just take a quick look at some of the other receivers here. Adonai Mitchell, really low on that list. Brian Thomas Jr. low on there. Some of the other top names, but Marvin Harrison had a higher drop rate than Xavier Worthy, so I'm not as worried about that as I was before just seeing this. But ultimately, Worthy's going to get that draft capital because of this time. I think he's going to end up being locked in as a first rounder. Some team's going to take a bite on him, and we saw Johnny Wilson had the highest drop rate there, 16.1, but 6'6", 230. Maybe if he gets a little heavier, he could be a tight end. Roman Wilson, he tested really fast, 4.41. So I like what Roman Wilson can offer. He's already getting hyped up in the media circles as going in the top 3 rounds, if not second round. Isaiah Williams, kind of low on here, so we'll move on. 464. Let's see if there's some other winners. Malik Washington, this was the person with the most yak out of this class, right ahead of Malachi Corley. 447, not bad. Good burst. Size is small, so we'll see what his role is. He's 4'8". Excuse me, 5'8". Javonte Walker, we knew he would test fast. Like I said earlier, 4.36. Good burst. Just want to quickly show some of these. We know their times at this point, but Brian Thomas, filling out the stat sheet here. Good size, good explosion, good speed. Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son. This is about what we would expect since we had a good idea of what he looked like on film. Not particularly too fast, but 4.51, that's fine. He'll be able to move in the NFL, especially with that size. Jalen Polk, good explosion. Not as fast as we would like, but he seemed to be really good out there on the field. So, again, I'm not going to let any of these times shake me too much one way or the other. I do think that some of those high 4.3, 4 and above players have kind of put themselves in a good position. Ricky Parasol, he's looking really good here. Overall has a pretty good profile, 107 out of 3,000 wide receivers. Roman Dunze, 96. He had a decent combine. Didn't even need him to run too fast. So 4.47 is right where we expected him to be. 6'2", 212. Really the prototypical size of a alpha wide receiver. Go on by Austin Reed. And yeah, we're into the quarterbacks. So this is where I had some of the tiers. Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Roman Dunze in the next tier with Brian Thomas Jr., Troy Franklin. Franklin, he ran a 4.41, which is not bad speed, but drills just kind of looked okay. Coleman, not too particularly fast, but he did look smooth out there. I would say easily Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell would go ahead of, Coleman for sure here, but this is all in one tier, so really it's more about, do any of these players go up a tier? And I could see with these players from Texas getting that draft capital in the first round and likely pushing Troy Franklin. I could see a team preferring Adonai Mitchell over Troy Franklin. So I would have Troy Franklin. I'm going to keep Troy Franklin where he is. I'm not ready to move him down. So I don't think he should be in Roman Dunze's tier, actually. So Franklin would go down. Worthy, Adonai Mitchell either move up, or I probably have Roman Odunze up a tier, honestly. But if I had to redo these, I could have Marvin in his own tier, Malik Neighbors in his own tier, Roman Odunze by himself as well, and then have Brian Thomas, Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell all in a tier on their own, and then we would get to the Troy Franklin and Lab McConkey and Roman Wilson. Roman Wilson needs to move up. I would say Troy Franklin needs to move down. Worthy, Adonai Mitchell, at least at the front of this tier, if not, locked in with Brian Thomas Jr. I just think Roman Dunze needs to be in his own tier still. However, the skill set from these receivers are just so fast. Maybe they are in that Roman Dunze tier. That's going to be tough figuring out who is that wide receiver for. If I had to take a guess, we've got Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Roman Dunze as the top three still. I could see it being Brian Thomas Jr. or Adonai Mitchell for fantasy, and I would stick with Brian Thomas Jr. since their speeds are pretty similar. And then have the other one right behind them at the fifth spot, and then Xavier Worthy after that. Worthy, historically, all the receivers who have been the number one fastest receivers of all time, they've not worked out in the NFL. Whether that's soft tissue, hamstring injuries, or other factors, have to take that into account. But yeah, I like what this combine has done for the draft stock of these players. Amongst all of the other positions, and Xavier Worthy with the wide receivers in blue here, I selected him in the first round of this draft, right behind AD Mitchell I think you would move Troy Franklin behind all of those receivers, and it's just going to depend on which quarterback goes as far as JJ McCarthy going ahead of these guys. So really, I think in this one you would just have Franklin move to the back of this line, and then in the next round have Roman Wilson move way up above Jatavian Sanders at a minimum. Yeah, Jalen Wright's in a good spot. I see him moving up. So yeah, that's it. Feel pretty good about the draft stock of these Texas players, and a lot of these other receivers. Brian Thomas Jr. tested well. Rome Odunze tested well. Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell, Lab McConkey, Roman Wilson had really good combines. Ricky Parasol, I think he had a good one as well. Malik Washington showed some speed, but still on the other side of the chart. And Lab McConkey is still looking really good where he's at. So yeah, this is a fast class. I think it's becoming confirmed that this is somehow an even better wide receiver class than in 2023, which was touted as being really good, and we had some sleepers there. Maybe there's just fewer sleepers here, and it's just obvious who some of these top guys are. But the point of this channel is we want to find that sleeper, so stay tuned. We're going to keep diving into these guys over the offseason, try to find who's going to be that really good third round pick for you, that fourth round, fifth round pick that might actually pay off for you in the end. So really appreciate you listening, and hope to see you in the next video.